So talking real estate, talking professional side first, talking about the Certified Realtor program. I know people have had questions about how can we get a quick view of what the Certified Realtor program is, what it does, why it's unique in the industry, and the specific things that we do. One of the best things for me about collaborating with realtors is they have a built-in market of people that need their numbers to be in the best shape possible when it's time to buy a house. What does that mean? Good credit, debt to income ratio, and they need that down payment ready, yes?
Yes.
Challenge. A lot of people have a thing that they want that they have to get in shape to buy. It's been a beautiful partnership up until now, to be in a position to help realtors get people ready, keep them in the pipeline, help them get paid on the walkaways, and then convert previous walkaways into new customers. But this spring, we started a $100 million partnership with U.S. Housing Exchange. I'm excited about what it's allowed us to do. Again, this will be the first video for this. There may be some more as we get things together, but let me jump in. For those of you I haven't met or haven't seen in a long time, Richard Hardon, blessed to be an executive director with Make Wealth Real Financial, and really focusing on pioneering that part of what we do to make sure that this ends up being a full 4-quadrant cash flow business for people. Meaning if you got a job, the membership helps you make more money from the job that you have. If you are self-employed, able to generate additional revenue, but building in a business system with income, and my favorite parts of the investment quadrant when it comes to the MWR are real estate and land banking, which I use the private reserve account to fund. So as I jump in, if you haven't seen it, if any of this is new, stop me, ask me questions, because I'll be asking myself questions along the way. But MWR Real Estate for Realtors, specifically the Certified Realtor program. Now, this is, for those of you that are ready, an opportunity to be an early adopter in something that's really unique, because it gives us that opportunity to create a historic moment in home ownership. We're looking to help remove credit as the barrier for otherwise qualified potential buyers. Meaning, how many of you know some people that got out there, did some things in life, and credit just ended up being the reason they couldn't do the thing they wanted to do?
Most definitely.
So with the program, imagine what you could do as a realtor. If you think about it, they say that there are 1.4 million realtors in the US. What thing makes you different from the other realtors out there in America? What if you could put yourself in a position where, if you think about the ways that people are getting leads, how many of you know realtors that are buying leads, using referrals, going through social media? What if we could add to the portfolio or arsenal of weapons that you have, a system that could separate you from 99% of the other realtors in the market? Sound interesting?
Yes.
More than interesting, it's powerful and it's profitable, and it puts us in a position where we're able to help you expand your practice by having a team of people publicizing your brand. Ask yourself a question right now, aside from you, how many people are promoting your services right now? What if I showed you a way that through our partnership, oh, by the way, let me introduce the CEO, founder of our partnership, U.S. Housing Exchange, Mario Henry. He's a founder, author, one of the top 100 people in real estate, a former NFL player, and he's done over $100 million in real estate transactions, specifically focused on the residential market and creating flips. That's new inventory and new buyers, but doing it in a unique way. We put together, if you think about the ultimate app, think about what Uber is. Uber is an app that sits between people that have vehicles available to give people rides and people that need rides, yes?
Right.
They don't own the vehicles, they don't own the cars, but what they do is they own the network and put people together. U.S. Housing Exchange is doing a very similar thing, finding, identifying, and helping to prepare qualified buyers. At the same time, finding sellers in need of additional property and allowing individuals like myself, Dana Turnquest, to participate as capital contributors, where we're able to automate our real estate investment process to where we can actually look on an app to see the motivated buyers and the motivated sellers. We get to look at the construction through the app and have visibility into the rehab and construction without ever having to go to Home Depot. Does that make sense? So it's a four-way win, meaning buyer wins, seller wins, we win, and you win as the real estate professional, because unfortunately, there's a very small percentage, less than 1% of members of MWR Financial are licensed realtors. I'm not a licensed realtor myself. So what you have is a growing community, growing awareness, and we're not just saying we're going to bring you people, it pays more money. In our certified realtor program, it pays the realtor 4 ways, meaning your commission and brokerage structure stay the same. Nothing changes about how you get paid. If you're going to get 3% of the sales price of a deal, you get paid the 3% that you're going to get. If you're going to get 6, you get 6. But in addition to that, if you bring the buyer to the table, MWR pays an additional $600 for bringing the buyer. If you also happen to find a property, there's an additional $600. That's $1,200 of additional revenue from the same deal. And then, unlike many flip investments, you also get to participate just for going to closing, an additional 1% of commission when the end buyer makes a deal. So what does that mean for you? Same deal, much larger possibility of client base, but now even on a transaction where we're doing $200,000 as an after repair value, that's an additional $2,600 that you get paid for the same deal. What does that sound like? Let me make sure we're talking money that people like here. But then as the process goes on, we continue to refer, and the mission, if you talk to Brian House, he's a CEO of MWR Financial, says there are over 47 million renters in the US, and 30% of that number were polled to actually want to rent, meaning that's their preference. What that also means, 70% of renters would rather buy, they just don't know how or don't know how to get themselves in shape. At the same time, recent survey gave us about 2 million vacant properties, which is our target. We are looking for something that in the process, we can fix and flip at a profit. And the mission is just to bridge the gap between those renters and those houses, just to find that 10% of the people that want to get from home rentership into home ownership. Who's it take? What are we looking for? Because I tell people up front, when you listen to us talk about the MWR real estate, certified real estate partners, it's not for everybody. We're not even looking for everybody. But if you're open-minded and are an out-of-the-box thinker, able to work smart and not hard, and driven to help people with their problems, not just earn money on the transaction, this can be a major win for you. And then think about what they have in comparison out there in the market. There's a lot of people seeing these divvy deals out there now. I don't know, Herm, have you seen this a lot? I know Steph and Natasha have mentioned it to me, where with the lease purchase, they typically require 10 to 20% sales price option fee, the lease, and most people don't qualify for the deal once the lease term is up. How many of you have seen that happen so far? By comparison, it is not that is no value in it. They get flexible pricing, no prepayment penalties. Downside, down payments high, interest rates high, sales price is what the anticipated value of the property will be at the end of the option period. And then that down payment is non-refundable. So now you have someone that was potentially struggling financially, that at the end of the lease ownership process, they still don't have the rights to own the home. Our goal is to put people in houses. We're changing the dynamic between the renter and buyer process. And then if you think about the other options out there, owner-seller finance, sellers finance a purchase price 15 to 30% down. They do get a lower interest rate by having the seller do the financing, but the seller dictates the sales price, down payment's non-refundable, and you may end up paying more than the property's worth. And the buyer beware, buyer's responsible for maintenance. What we do, we find people in situations. In our My Landlord Is Fired program, we want to match motivated buyers with distressed properties or motivated sellers. We also are doing some new construction so that vacant land is an option. And we help buyers succeed and get to the closing table, meaning at the end of our process, we have a proven stepwise process to get somebody 6 to 8 weeks in, where 3.5% to 5% down payment and rent is 1% higher than published FHA rates, meaning during the period that we're going through the transaction, helping them to qualify, they rent at 1% over FHA. What does that mean for us and them? Now they got some flexibility. They get to choose how the property is renovated. They get to customize their approach. The construction management and quality control is done by us, and the mortgage is done in-house. And we support building credit all the way to the closing table with processes that are CROA approved and one of the pioneers in the forensic credit space. Now, let me pause for a second, ask questions about that. And then the con is the success in our scenario in working with MWR versus lease purchase versus seller finance is that success is determined by a client's ability to follow directions and stay disciplined. So all that said, U.S. Housing Exchange is your client, not the My Landlord Is Fired buyer. We make the purchase, or we buy the house once the deal is structured and set up. Properties are selected based on our program criteria and the needs of the My Landlord Is Fired. That's what MLIF stands for, My Landlord Is Fired program. So there are criteria. We do need to have that property at least be able to get 70% of after repair value so that there's enough margin in the deal for us, you, and the capital contributor to make some money. Make sense? And you feel that important missing piece in the gap because we're building a nationwide program, we need people to know the markets that they're in. So 75% max after repair value, which includes the acquisition and the rehab costs. That leaves enough room for a flip or profit partner. We call those capital contributors. We'll talk about the capital contributor portion. That's if you're looking to be an investor making money on the real estate transactions, 2% seller assistance, and then the closing costs. And what does that allow you to do? Well, it creates that hero story in your market because now people are able to refer credit challenge renters to the program. You do receive significant potential residual income from just giving people access to the membership. Every realtor needs somebody that they call anyway when it's time for somebody to go get their numbers together. Doesn't it just make sense to get paid? And then last but not least, you receive that extra 1% commission for going to closing for our buyers. It's a win-win, and we are starting to build out and deploy new pieces so that you have the place to find your dream home so that you can do some client attraction using things that MWR is putting in place with world-class marketing supplies. And the question I know everybody's asking is, well, what's the map? What's the process? Number one thing that you have to do to become a certified realtor is, number one, you must be a member of and understand and use all the services of MWR Financial. They are looking for us to provide some coaching for people to do the self-service of building their credit. Two, the client has to be at least a member. They don't have to be a business partner, but they do at least have to have the Financial Edge membership. And three, pre-qualification. MWR lending pre-qualifies the subject to finances and credit score. And then four, there's an onboarding process with the My Landlord Is Fired, that's your end buyer, that customer, and the MWR real estate staff where they go through the rules. These are the things that we need you to do. This is how much you need to have for down payment. This is what you need to have for credit. Please don't go buy a sofa, a couch, or a refrigerator before your deal is done and mess up these numbers. And then number five, what they're looking for our real estate professional partners to know is the local market so that they can help the buyer orient around our onboarding process. Simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody got it? Screenshot that if you need it. And then just understand there is training and continuing education. This is evolving. We're right now in a first mover position. Everybody understand what that means? Meaning some people say they want to get in on something at the ground level. We're still in the mud right now. People like Stephanie Stewart, who's right here. Stephanie, I'm gonna call on you in a second to talk about some of the things that you've been doing to differentiate your practice. But right now, the market is wide open for people that now that we're building this audience of people with the numbers that you need, right? Being able to educate people on a different way to get to home ownership. And then there's ongoing training as a part of our Financial Edge University and our US Home Exchange podcast to teach the process. So let me pause for a second from the slides and talk a couple of realities. First reality is I didn't know how much the MWR Financial Edge membership would change things for me financially. Meaning, I thought I had decent credit. I was making good money at my job. And, you know, I was paying my bills on time. That's where I was. Over the course of the last 2 years, imagine this. Using the strategies in the Financial Edge membership, the same ones that they'll have available to your customers, I was able to increase my take-home pay by $636 per paycheck. That's $1,272 per month. What does that impact in terms of the magic numbers for a purchase? Debt to income ratio. Now I'm bringing home more and it's easier for me to put some to the side. Make sense? Second thing was using that with the debt elimination plan, we were able to knock out $52,000 in credit card debts. That increased my cash flow again, another $1,300 a month. And the blessing now is that they're working on my credit at the same time. So where I've been in the mid 700s for years, now at 824. I ain't even know that could happen for me. And it's not just me. Like when people say, Richard, you're so passionate about this. I understand that with that 800, the underwriting on this refinance for me was so simple, meaning they said, they took me from a 5.75% interest rate to a 3%. My mortgage payment went down $600. Hey, Dana, and I took 20,000 out. I don't think people understand.
We took out 40, bro.
So now we're having access to the equity at a lower price point than we were paying. We'll pay off that loan sooner. Hey, Tasha, East-West Turnquest. And just being in that position, and it's not just me. So the Financial Edge membership, when I start working with the brokers and agents and they really understand the power of it, things start to happen different. Now, Dana, I'm going to go out of order and ask you to share your story on the back end about how this impacts your investment portfolio and things that you're able to do once the membership is in place. But I want to brag about Stephanie Stewart. I think in the state of Wisconsin, she is the first MWR certified realtor, to the point where it's had such a brand impact for her. Imagine this, her brand is Educate to Own. And among, I think this is your second year as a realtor.
Second.
Imagine this, one of the top 20 in her state as a second-year realtor with Educate to Own. Here's the philosophy. She's not just that agent that's going to sell you a house. She teaches you the process, helps you qualify for the house, helps you buy the house, and then shows you a game plan for paying off that 30-year mortgage that you're nervous to sign at the closing table in 8 to 12 years. Do you think she gets referred more often by the people that she's working with, doesn't have to buy the same number of leads? Simple ballgame. So Steph, I know I brag about you all the time. Everybody give it up for Steph Stewart. Share whatever you want to say about being early in the process, helping shape the training.
Thank you so much for all of that. Yes, these last 2 years have definitely just been so different. But this last year, when I've been able to add Make Wealth Real Financial to it, I am that different realtor than everybody else. When everybody says, oh, are you pre-qualified? Oh, are you even up to par? They turn them to the left. They say, come back later. And that's the end of it. I'm able to continue building that relationship with my clients. I'm able to sit up here and say, look, if you are ready right now, great. If you're not ready right now, let me go take you through this process. And it's not just about buying a house. I mean, this is definitely changing their lives. This is adding more cash flow to their household. Now they can pay for groceries. They can pay for their down payment, where now buying a house isn't a regret or something that's, super massive, where it's like, oh, if I do this, I'm going to just lose everything, where, you're eating out of sardines for the first month after closing the house.
Wow.
It's definitely just been definitely breathtaking. Like, I had one client where he was not qualified, period. And he went from unqualified to qualified at a very high dollar amount at that, where, just every day is thank you, Stephanie, thank you. And it's just because I like being that person who can change people's lives and change the trajectory of where they're going, versus somebody who just looks at you for that face value of, okay, you're not good right now, bye, come back later. I'll work with you through that whole process, because with buying a house, it's not just buy a house tomorrow. This is something that you're going to be in 4, 5, 10, 20, 30 years. And you want to make sure that's something that's going to make sense for you in the long run.
Man, that's a blessing, man. And the exciting thing, I don't know if you want to talk about the deal metrics, but if you just think about that dynamic of being able to continue a conversation until they're ready. Because here's the reality: most people's credit is as good as they know how to get it.
A lot of people not even tracking.
If they don't get some help from somebody, you send them away, they're gonna stay in the rental situation until what's it in until. So Dana, while we're recording, I want you to talk about some of the things that you were able to do, and especially the preparations you've been making in terms of the investment side of the house, the use of the private reserve account, and how you were able to increase your income streams all together with this one membership, and just what you see with what we'll be able to do in the certified realtor market.
Well, I appreciate the chance, Richard. I've been following your lead, when I first came into to the team, into the family, and I heard you say certain things. You and I were reading the same books. We would listen to the same stuff. I'm like, man. And you and I, my name and your name, of course, passed a few times. But now I know why, because you're such a dynamic leader, and you've been doing so much stuff in this space. And there was something you said early on about flipping your own money.
Yes.
And when I first got into the company, my wife and I, we did everything we were supposed to do, right? Both have good incomes, good jobs. We have multiple properties. We're real estate investors. And we were still looking at our finances with a puzzled look, because the pandemic just kind of threw everything into a freaking flux. The governor said, the government said that our tenants didn't have to pay their bills, they have to pay their mortgages, or their rent. And my wife and I was looking for something at the same time this whole thing came to be. And at the same time, the president then had limited the amount that you can deduct from property.
Mm-hmm.
The limit was $10,000. So now my wife and I were paying an additional $8,000 roughly per year because of these new tax laws for realtors. So now we're like, oh my God, what's going on? And then here come the experts. And from going from paying $8,000 a year to getting back $1,100 a month and not paying $8,000, actually getting some money back from the state, that's a $20,000 jump just in taxes.
Right.
And then you add into that, we have no revolving debt. All of our revolving debt done. We followed the system. We flipped some. We used some of the money. We snowballed that, paid off a ton of debt. So now the $400, $500, $600 a month paying towards credit cards gone also. So $1,100 plus another $600 in credit card stuff. And then we took a dying 401k. We rolled that into a private reserve account, and that was earning at 14%. So it was earning on average over the last 5 years at 4%. It went from 4 to 14. And now that cash value, I can have access to that anytime I want. If I needed to get access to my 401k prior to this, there were fees and loopholes and hurdles and a left arm and a firstborn and everything just to get access to money that I put in there.
Been putting it there my whole life.
I've been working for the same agency since 2004.
Wow.
So now I have access to my money. So now when I do another real estate deal and actually hire Hiram and I, we go way back. Hiram is my realtor, and he's helping me actually sell one of our properties. And the goal is to move into better forms of real estate, more secure, like land banking. And again, the company is putting us in a position so that we can become, even folks who are in real estate, you can become more secure in real estate, as opposed to what I was doing, which was dealing with tenants and toilets and Tylenol and nonsense. So now I get a chance to take the money I was making, put it into a private reserve account where it grows at 14% with the market. If I ever have to access it, I can borrow against myself. And now I can be a capital contributor, make 20% on my money. I can use Hiram on the deals. He gets an extra percent. I get 20%. And then on the back end, we both get paid also. And then I pay myself back, and I never lost a step with my investments. So when you look at the whole picture, for folks who are savvy enough to understand how real estate can be a big part of your puzzle, and you use these experts to do all of the work, I don't have to worry about contractors. I don't have to worry about sellers. I have to find someone who does not want to be a renter any longer, and I can just have them come in for $79 a month, get all of their finances together, and then in 6 months be in a home, and my boy gets paid, and I get 20% of the renovation value. I don't know how you lose with that scenario. That is absolutely the best thing in business. Forget network marketing, forget any traditional business. That is the best scenario where other people do the work and you still get paid. I haven't seen anything like this in the 20-something years I've been involved in home-based business, right?
Man, again, no brainer. And Dana, I really thank you for, both your example and your testimony. See, there are a lot of people out there that will talk about the things that could happen or would happen. Dana's one of those people out there up front, getting it done. And not only that, I'm not going to tell his whole business, but I will say he gets an extra comma in residual income every month, so that now he's earning I quadrant and B quadrant money from the same deal. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. So with that, I'm gonna make this video short. I do want to just recap what we said. MWR Real Estate is a buy, sell, and flip platform. So we are focused right now on helping people get into homes. If you know somebody wants to buy a house, we help them buy a house. You know somebody needs to sell a house, we help them sell a house. People that want to invest and flip properties without the headaches, but get that guaranteed 20% return per annum. By the way, when we talk about this in our capital contributor program, that doesn't mean they use the money for a year, but they do pay you the full 20%. Get a percentage on the equity at the end of the deal. And then if you're already a real estate professional, it just makes sense to get paid more and have more people that you can do business with. Yes? So that's our ultimate win-win. The buyer wins, they get the credit. They get the debt to equity ratio. They get to increase their buying power, reduce their taxes. We even have solutions for helping people that need lien releases or need to settle bad debts, and they own a home at the end of the process. And as a professional, you get to expand your practice. Now you're significantly different. You get to create clients instead of competing. Renters become buyers. You get paid. Imagine this, you get paid on your turn downs. You can go back and recapture those past turn downs. Your pipeline goes up. You get the customer retention and you get the referral earlier. Average realtor only gets a referral after the deal's done and that person's holding the sign. Now, Stephanie has people that say, Stephanie's helping me get in shape so I can buy a house. You should come get in the program with us. Make sense? So all in all, this is one of the things that we're excited about launching. It's very new. Will we have growing pains? Yes. But if you ever said, I wish I had gotten started when, this is when. So with that, I'm going to end the recording. I'll stick around if anybody has questions.